Hello, BookTube. Last night I was watching a book tech live stream. Those of you who watch this channel know how much I dearly love book tech in all of its different permutations. I was a late convert, but I am a passionate convert. I watch all the tech channels, and I catch live streams whenever I can. And the channel that I caught last night was the best reading tech channel of them all, a channel called Good E-Reader. A lot of you will already know about them. And last night's live stream was one of the guys in charge of Good E-Reader, Peter Caratenuto, was doing as kind of a live walkthrough of a new e-reader, e-writer, the Hanvon N10 Mini. He knew, he pointed out himself that this is not a household name. This is a Honda Civic rather than a Cadillac. But he wanted to take viewers of the live stream through the features of the device, just, basically exploring it himself. And that's always fascinating. It's always fascinating to see. And naturally, since it was a live stream and I was there in the live stream, I naturally participated, as I do in pretty much any live stream that I stumble across. When I get involved, if I'm just watching, like a train wreck or something like that, or if the live stream is flying by so that the person doing the live stream has no idea you're there, then I won't bother. But if it's an actual live stream, like the ones that we have on this channel, where the host of the live stream sees your comments and knows you're there and other people can read you, then I often do chime in. And so I did. I chimed in with a few questions. I chimed in also with an exclamation of shock. Why would Hanvon make the N10 Mini with no touchscreen? It doesn't have a touchscreen. You need the dedicated pencil in order to manipulate the screen, aside from page turn buttons. But to do anything else, you need the pencil. You can't tap the screen. That just blew my mind. And I was watching the live stream. I always learn a lot from these, not only from Peter, but also from the other people in the live stream. And I was having just a fine time, and I maybe got a little too comfortable, and disaster struck. Because if you watch my channel, then you know that I like to take the mickey out of YouTube culture. Smash that like button and guys, and like and subscribe and share this video far and wide and all that sort of stuff. All that kind of completely fake call to action manipulative garbage that doesn't happen on this channel. And I just don't do it. I refuse to do it. And so I got comfortable. I adopt a kind of snarky, snotty, teasing Deb voice in all of this. And at one point in the live stream, while I was asking questions and making comments about the Hanvon N10 Mini, I also just offhandedly refer to myself as a BookTube star, a YouTube star. I didn't think anything of it because I brag like that all the time on this channel about being a Giga Chad mega influencer. And you all just pat me on the head and say, sure, Steve, whatever. But not only did Peter notice the comment, because it wasn't a large live stream, because Peter and Michael Kozlowski, who's the other guy who runs Good E-Reader, because they themselves are not Giga Chad superstars, their live streams pull in a third of the number of people that mine does, even though they have a quintillion subscribers and I have barely any. But Peter not only noticed my comment because there were a manageable number of people in the chat, but he also remembered that in a previous live stream I had also jokingly referred to myself as a YouTube star. And that's when disaster happened, because he pulled out his phone and went to my channel, saw it, and not only that, but subscribed, and not only subscribed, but told everybody in the chat to subscribe. Not knowing, of course, that I am probably the only person on YouTube who doesn't want any more subscribers. I'm mailing out books every day as it is. There are already too many mouths to feed. But what was done was done. The chat went on. It was still really enjoyable. I love catching them when I can. And they're, I think, located in Japan, so the timing of their live streams often works perfectly for me. Oddly enough, the timing of their live streams is often more convenient than the timing of my live streams for a lot of you, because I'm doing my live streams in the evening in the US and you're all in Europe. But when it was over, and I thought, well, that was really, really interesting. He cuts his live streams off at 30 minutes. I've never had any success in doing that, but he does. When it was over, I thought, oh God, what if people actually do migrate over from his live stream to check out this weird old guy talking about books with smallpox scars from 1782? And that got me thinking about a video. Why not make a video about good e-reader? Why not do that? And that's what this video is. This video is the top 5 reasons why I love good e-reader. The top 5 reasons why the channel absolutely rocks. We're going to start with reason number 1, which is that they're plugged in. They not only distribute e-reader technology, tablet technology, that sort of thing. They also manufacture some of it, and they talk to manufacturers. They know these people. They're in a dialogue behind the scenes with the people who are actually producing the products. I would imagine that makes them an invaluable conduit for cutting-edge, early adopter first responses. I don't doubt that Hanvon will or has already heard from Peter, for instance, that half his chat was appalled by the idea that the N10 Mini has no touch responsivity. Also, in that live stream, we went into the weeds of the English language options and whatnot. I imagine that manufacturers hear a lot from good e-reader and pay attention. There's an element of that. That, of course, being plugged in won't make your content good, right? It won't save you if your content is boring. I myself, there's an argument to be made that I am fairly plugged into the American publishing industry, but if I weren't a Giga Chad sexy influencer, no one would watch. so there's hope, right? Michael and Peter can hope that someday they will achieve Giga Chad Sigma male status, such as myself. It's not likely, but it could happen. Anyway, reason number 5 is that they're plugged in. So this is not some kid, reviewing stuff that he paid for with his own dime long after it is out, and maybe not knowing any of the backstage debates about what made which feature. There's a little bit of insider knowledge there that's really, really interesting. Then reason number 4 why good e-reader rocks is adumbrated. Nice bookish term. It's foreshadowed in the fact that Peter was doing a live stream about the Hanvon N10 Mini in the first place. And that is that they are tireless. Good e-reader is tireless. And not just the YouTube channel, but also the website, which has tons and tons of written material on it. I'll leave links. I don't think they need my help at all, but it seems a little silly for a tiny channel to be linking to a huge channel. But in case you didn't know about it, I'll leave links. Although, I should probably point out here, I'll leave links. You'll probably end up really liking their channel. I do. A lot of other people I know who keep up with e-reading devices. We're all this corner of YouTube is all bookish people. If you go and subscribe and you like their channel, and maybe you're tempted to go to another live stream the next time Peter does a live stream, and you see me in the live stream, kindly don't start asking me book questions in their live stream or talking about, Hail King Squid or any of that sort of stuff. I can't take you people anywhere. Just treat me as a normal individual if we encounter each other in their live streams. But anyway, what I was trying to say is they're plugged in. And or not plugged in, they're tireless. And by tireless, I mean exactly what we saw in that live stream, which is that they don't consider any technology on the market to be beneath their attention. They have a fairly large audience. I think they have a huge amount of influence. But anybody who produces a device is going to get their attention. They're going to get it into the studio. They're going to rip it apart. They're going to sit at a table together and go over the pros and cons. Here's something I noticed. Here's something I noticed. And then they're going to let you know. No matter how unlikely it is that you will ever encounter a Hanvon N10 Mini. No matter how unlikely that is, they are incredibly tireless. They cover everything. And that leads us to reason number 3, why good e-reader rocks, which is that in addition to being tireless, they are also incredibly thorough. They do not consider their work done by merely doing a review of some new item or some new iteration of an item, the latest Kindle, the latest Kobo. They don't consider their job done by simply doing a review. Now, I shouldn't say simply, because the reviews are incredible. Their actual formal reviews of these devices are incredible, but they do a lot more than that. They do previews, they do unboxings, they do reviews, and they also, just fantastically, they do side-by-side comparisons. They will compare not only a new device with its direct market competitor of another kind of new device, they'll also compare a new device with the slightly older device that is the one you're most likely to be familiar with. It's invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. It must take a huge amount of work to do, but it is invaluable when you are doing what I imagine a lot of people who watch their channel do, which is evaluating whether or not you're going to buy a new piece of e-reader technology. It's invaluable to get more than just a review, but also to get, here's a review, here's first impressions, and here's how it breaks down next to your 2019 Kindle Paperwhite, the thing you use every day. that is absolutely invaluable. They come at these devices from all angles. And that is, I hope they never change it. That is a wonderful service to their viewers. Then reason number 4, or number 2, reason number 2 why Good e-Reader rocks is because they are unpretentious. They don't take on a holier-than-thou, look, school is in session attitude towards their viewers at all. As again is evidenced in that live stream that I'm referring to. That I will leave a link to it. I'll leave a link to the live stream so that you will actually be able to hear the disastrous moment when Peter tells everybody in the chat to subscribe to my channel. And the people who watch this channel will be the only ones anywhere on YouTube who will say, "Oh, Steve didn't like that." But nevertheless, it was meant well. I'll leave a link to that video. But in that video, you will see what I mean by unpretentious. Which is that Peter and Michael know everything there is to know about the industry. And they have seen, they've put their hands on, they've worked with and lived with and examined the technical capabilities and limitations of so many devices that you and I will never experience. And yet, there's none of the attitude that you would expect that comes from that amazing body of expertise. Instead, they're perfectly willing to come across some feature on a device and say, I have no idea what this does. Now let's find out. That happens in every one of Peter's live streams. They are voyages of discovery for him as well as for his audience. And very often, the people in the chat will be pinging him with questions or suggestions that give him, oh, maybe that is the right reason. Maybe that is what's going on here. You would think with a lot of channels, including a lot of tech channels, that kind of pinging from your audience would get somebody's hackles up. Look, I'm the expert here, not you. I don't need your suggestions. I'll figure this out on my own, or I'll pretend that I know it even if I don't. There's none of that on Good e-Reader, none at all. These things, these devices have all kinds of fine print and left curves and whatnot. No one can know it all about every one of these devices. And they just come right out and admit that. And I don't know. In the 21st century, you might think that that kind of an admission would hurt their authority. But it doesn't. It doesn't dent their authority at all. I mean, when Peter's in the middle of a live stream and is saying, I've got this piece in front of me, I've played with it a little, I've taken it home a little, but there are a whole bunch of things about it that I don't know. What on earth is this? You would think that in that moment, a viewer, especially a tech-savvy viewer, would be saying, well, why am I watching this when I could be watching somebody who does know what that is? But the key that saves it is that although Michael and Peter are unpretentious, they have that huge backstock of knowledge. They would never rub your nose in it, but it's a huge backstock of knowledge and experience that allows them the comfort of saying when they don't know something. There's nothing on the line. They don't have to prove it. They prove it all the time, that they know what they're talking about. So that's wonderful. And then the number one reason why Good e-Reader rocks, since some of you may have come here from Good e-Reader, the number one reason why Good e-Reader rocks is their honesty. And you might think, well, that's common among tech channels, tech reviewing channels, and I suppose the kind of honesty is, most tech channels, if they get, for instance, if we stick to e-reading technology, if they get an e-reader, a new e-reader, and the manufacturer's promising 13 hours of battery life and they get 2, most of them will tell you that. But in a great many cases, not all of them, I watch a lot of tech review channels that I could say the same thing about, but in a great many examples, you won't be sure. Your hackles will be up just a little. You'll be saying, well, I don't know, is somebody have their hand in your pocket? I mean, you're criticizing this, but how much of a deal breaker is it? Whereas Michael and Peter are not only honest, but wonderfully honest. They are completely frank about their own personal likes and dislikes. They're completely frank about the moment when they encounter something in a device that they've got from the manufacturer. The manufacturer is certainly hoping that they praise it on their channel. I can only imagine how much traffic they must generate for these things. They are the first place to go for e-reading technology. They're perfectly happy to acknowledge that when they're going through a device like that, a walkthrough or a live stream or a review or something, and they encounter a detail, a feature that is just bad, well, they're not beholden to anybody. So they can just say that and make a perfectly drawn distinction between what they personally like and don't like, and your mileage may vary, and something that is just objectively a bad feature. That's invaluable. I'm not probably doing a good job of putting it into words, but you'll notice it. If you watch a few of their videos, you'll notice it. Especially if you're in the market for something. And a new e-reader of some kind. Like, for instance, let's say you noticed that Amazon just brought out an entry-level basic Kindle, $100 Kindle. And you wanted to know, is it any good? Is it a drastic improvement? Is it a lot better than my 2019 Paperwhite? What is the whole look of this thing? What is the whole reality of it? If you were to wonder, well, I'm going to spend $100. I want to know what everybody thinks about this. I want as many opinions and I want as many trustworthy input as I can. If you went around to 20 tech channels, all of whom were talking about that on the week that it came out, I think you would notice a difference with Good e-Reader. I'm pretty sure it was what drew me to them, is that difference is pretty noticeable fairly early on. Give it a few videos and I think you'll see what I mean. But those are the top 5 reasons why the channel Good e-Reader, which of course I will link to, rocks. I figured I should at least do that since I actually got a shout out on a Good e-Reader live stream. I'll have to remember to watch my P's and Q's next time. The jokes that we tell on this channel don't necessarily travel elsewhere. Peter, I think, got a good laugh out of it. I think he could sense that it was hyperbole, but not every live stream would. Who knows what kind of weirdos I would get. I'm already fully stocked with weirdos. Thank you very much. I don't need any more. There you go. That is my response to Good e-Reader. I will be probably in the next live stream there. Maybe some of you will be too. They're a lot of fun, even if you're not remotely interested in the device. In 2 seconds, the minute Peter said that the Hanvon N10 Mini was not touch responsive, I was no longer interested in it, even theoretically. I still watched the whole thing. It's still fascinating to watch this guy who has explored so many of these kinds of devices just explore this thing in real time. Utterly fascinating. Not as fascinating as my own Steve streams, but isn't that really too much to ask of ordinary YouTubers? I think so. Anyway, there you go. A little bit of an odd video, but I thought it'd be fun to do, and I'll leave links to Good e-Reader for those of you who don't know about them already. They're invaluable when it comes time for you to make a purchasing decision. Invaluable. But also intensely interesting to know what's out there. Plenty of stuff that isn't in the English market, that isn't in the American market. You'll still get to learn all about it. So there you go. That is my response to being accidentally stalking Good e-Reader one of their own live streams. So I'll wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.